Right, so welcome everyone to the Data Analytics webinar by equiskill.com, and today, the 20th of October 2018, we're super excited to have all of you in today's webinar. We'll be covering a lot of ground today, so please do focus all of your energies and your attention here. It'll be probably one of your better introductions to analytics. Now, and here we go. Our vision at equiskill.com, and I'd like to encourage everyone to focus here on the presentation. We will share the links again in a short while to download the data and Tableau. So please stop focusing on that and focus completely here with us, right? So our vision is to help everyone get insights from the vast amounts of data that we have at our disposal as a species today and improve the state of our organization, ourself, or our country. And a lot of you would have been to the website equiskill.com, but if you've not, here's the website. And on the website, you'll notice that we've got a bunch of courses. We also consult in analytics with a lot of leading corporates and startups. And this is the flagship course, the Data Analytics Accelerator, the one course that has Excel, Tableau, R, all of it in the single course, right? Apart from that, you'll notice that, we have been around for more than 3 years. And we also have a lot of alumni working as data scientists, data analysts in many companies across the world. Some feedback from our learners. So all of that is there. We've got learners across the world. I think we'll talk more about that in a short while. But coming back to the presentation, I'm your chief presenter today. So I'm Amit Upadhyay. I'm the executive vice president previously of Citibank Global Analytics and Insight Division. And I'm the founder and chief data scientist at Equiskill Insights Consulting Practice. So we will be talking about analytics today. I'm going to bring all my experience into the picture and also share what I share as an adjunct faculty of customer analytics at international universities. I conduct 57 plus global analytics workshops I've conducted across the world. I've got around 15 years experience with Amazon, GE, and Citi Analytics. Currently ranked as world number 2 on Quora. And I know that some of you follow me on Quora, but for those of you who do not, here's my Quora profile. Let me just share it with you right away in case you'd like to follow me on Quora.com. Okay, there we go. Right, so here's my Quora profile. I'm sharing with all of you. And of course, we'll be sharing the entire presentation and the recording. So please focus on the learning, not on scribbling. Now, here in analytics on the bottom right corner, if you look at the topic of analytics globally and you click on the most viewed writers across the world, you will see that I'm ranked world number 4 with all of your support. So thank you, all of you. I know a lot of you follow me on Quora. So our global ranking is something that is a virtue of all of your support. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for that. And here we go. I've got the global ranking link out for you as well. So I'll keep sharing, and all of these links will be a part of the presentation that I share with you. Now, these are some of the workshops I've conducted in Singapore, and this is Kuala Lumpur, a lot of global workshops, and we've trained thousands of professionals at the companies that you see here. But everyone joins us individually. They don't join us sponsored by their company. They join because they want to learn, they want to upskill, and they want to take their analytical skills to the next level. The typical experience is anywhere between 5 and 25 years of experience for people who actually join this course. But why are we here today? Folks, we're here because analytics has become big for a simple reason, right? Every day, in a minute, 1 minute, right? Just look at the vast amount of data that we're generating on different social media platforms, right? I'm just talking about some of the platforms here, but just look at the number of tweets, right? 277,000 tweets in 1 minute. Around 2.5 million shares on Facebook, 72 hours of video, right? This is just a crazy amount of data. And the reason we're here today is because every 2 years, data is doubling across the world. So which means today, if we're sitting on, let's say, a certain number of quintillion bytes of data, that will double in exactly 2 years from now. Now that means a 200% growth every 2 years, right? It's absolutely fantastic. Now, what are the essentials that you should know? See, there's a huge volume of data that we are all facing today. Now, this is very important, and all of you see it here, right? the tremendous volume of data, but there's also a lot of variety of data. So you have data that is, video, you have text, you have images, and it's coming at us really, really fast, right? So there's a lot of velocity to that data. We're also struggling as a species to understand what is true and what is false, because on the internet, data has become very hard to control, right? So if someone asks you what are the 4 V's of data, you should all be able to say volume, variety, velocity, and the veracity of data, and how establishing the reliability of data. These are the essentials of data. Of course, you've been to this article most probably, otherwise I'll share the link. The 10 most in-demand hard skills globally, right? And probably cloud computing and data analytics vie for the #1 spot. Currently, data analytics is around #2. But no matter where you are in the world, if you're in Singapore, Indonesia, the US, or London, or India, analytics is definitely going to be in the top 5, no matter where you are, right? And that is the reason you're all here today. You're all here to learn about analytics. And the reality is there's an acute shortage of data scientists, quality data scientists. And by the way, completing a course on Udemy doesn't really rank as a quality data scientist, because no one is checking your assignment. So you don't even know if what you're doing is right or wrong. So watching a video doesn't qualify. If you practice, you can become a data scientist. If you don't, not, right? But data today is the new oil and the new soil, and even traditional companies that were not into data, right? They're getting into data in a big way, and I can take some examples. Walmart is one really big example, but closer home in in India, you can talk about companies like Reliance or Tata. They're opening up their data science divisions and hiring the best talent across the country. If you go to South Africa, countries like Santam Insurance are into analytics in a big way. If you go to England, the all the companies in England, are latching on to this movement. So no matter where you are, right? Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, or South Africa, India, Dubai. Reality is there's a huge need for data scientists, right? But quality data scientists, not just anyone who gets sort of certified here and there. Now, let me ask you a question, and this is where we need to get really interactive. So Abhinav, Bijay, Shankar, Dide, Hemant, everybody, right? Molla, all of you guys, right? And girls, let me ask you this question. What are the different kinds of analytics that you've heard of? Okay, let me give you an example, right? One analytics is healthcare analytics. Can you tell me what are the different kind of analytics that you've heard of? So just reply in the chat box. Shilpa says business analytics. Let's keep going. Okay, Sohail says semantic analytics. All right. There's someone called Null. He says business analytics. So please share your name with us. Eddie says financial analytics. So does Nagpumar. How about the others? Oil and gas analytics. So this gets pretty mind-boggling, isn't it? So many different kinds of analytics. But what if I had to say to you that fundamentally there's only 3 kinds of analytics, right? And this slide is very important, the next one that I'm going to talk about. And the 3 types of analytics are descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Okay, so let's try to understand, what is descriptive analytics, what is prescriptive, what is predictive analytics. Now, to keep it really simple, a lot of this is things that you guys already know. It's not that you don't, but the terminologies are really important. How you articulate it is pretty important, right? Descriptive analytics is all about, and as you can see here, right, it's all about describing what has happened in the past, right? So you see the word hindsight mentioned here, which means this event has already occurred. The moment you describe what has occurred in the past, and let me use this word here, it's pretty important, it's what has occurred in the past. And if you describe this, right, you're doing descriptive analytics. Now, you ask me, what about BI, business intelligence? Is that descriptive analytics? Yes, it is. It's an earlier version of descriptive analytics. If you talk about dashboards, right? And you say, what about that? Absolutely, it is descriptive analytics. If you even talk about alerts that you get on your mobile phone, okay? So, or alerts that you get over email from your bank, what is that? So it is descriptive analytics. So all of this describes an event that happened in the past. In the case of alerts that you get on your mobile phone, it's probably that you drew an amount from the bank, or in the case of For example, dashboards is describing the profit that you had in the previous month. So what is descriptive analytics is really talking about what happened in the past. Now, if I say what happened in the past in the last 1 month is that our sales went down by 10%, right? Let me just use this statement, right? Sales went down 10%, or let's say profit went down, right? Let's go with profit. Profit's down 10%. Now, the moment I tell you as the head of sales for a company, the profit just went down by 10%, what would be the next natural question that you would ask me if you were the head of sales for a company? Simple question. It's a three-letter word. It starts with a W. Absolutely, right? Why, right? Why is the question. So let's come to the second question. Why did it happen the way it happened? Okay. And just hold on to your questions around data science, right? So I've got a couple of questions around, data science and the difference between that and business intelligence from Phantom. So I'll answer that. So why it happened, the moment you say why, you're not looking at the past anymore. You're looking for a reason as to why something happened. Now, reasons by definition tend to be insight. And when you're looking for insight into why things happened the way they did, you're trying to predict why they happened the way they happened, right? This is predictive analytics, okay? It's all about describing why things are happening the way they're happening, okay? So predictive analytics, predictive data science, it's the same thing, by the way, okay? It's all about describing why things happen the way they happen. And by the way, if you can describe why they happen the way they happen, you can also create a pretty good model to predict how it might happen in the future, isn't it? Now let's come to the last point. And the last kind of analytics, the one that has machine learning, deep learning, is all about how do we proceed in the future. Now I won't say deep learning, but definitely machine learning is all about how do we proceed in the future. So you're no longer talking about what happened in the past. You're saying, oh, okay, sales went down, and let's say the reason that sales went down, and let's put a reason to this, right? Let's say that the reason that profit went down is because we gave too much discount, okay? And if that is the reason, let's just assume for a second that that's the reason that profit is down by 10%, then how do we proceed in the future, right? So how much how much discount do we give? Do we give 10% anymore? Do we stop doing that? Do we go down? Do we take this down to 5%? What do we do? I mean, do we make it 7%? So, the moment you want automated systems that are going to learn what is the best discount to have for a particular profit, any sort of automated decision making, you're going to look at machine learning to do that, right? Okay, here we go. So now let me take some of the questions. Now, how is data science different from business intelligence? So business intelligence typically focuses on the section down below here, descriptive analytics. It is not that heavy on statistics. So you can say it is descriptive analytics minus the statistics, right? It'll have some basic statistics, but not very advanced statistics. And that's what BI was all about, right? Pulling out dirty data and cleaning it up and sharing it with people. But data science is really much bigger than BI, isn't it? All of these things that you see here get covered in data science, right? So that is one question that I got. And Sulabh says using the past to predict the future, that is predictive analytics, Sulabh, but using the current data to predict the future even without past data, that can be machine learning. Okay, all right. So Phantom says data science is a part of business intelligence. Data science is a superset of business intelligence, Phantom. And now let's see here. Data analytics and data science, absolutely, those two terms are used pretty interchangeably, Shilpa. So thank you for that question. Now let me show you, where does data science start and end? Okay, and Eddie will just hold on to that question for a quick second. So if you see here, a data analyst's work, right, starts from pulling the data from the database, cleaning it, and taking it to a point where you do dashboarding, you do, metrics like profitability, EBIT, sales, etc., to alerts, all of that, and some amount of forecasting, right? That predictive analytics. That is the job of a data analyst. But you see, as they grow and they become data scientists, where they assume a slightly more senior role, or if they become a senior data analyst, they start focusing more on the predictive part, okay, of analytics. And as they become even more senior, they become MLAI engineers, right? They start focusing on the prescriptive part of the analytics, right? And Sulabh, you're absolutely right. BI focuses on the past data. And then we'll talk about machine learning and how is machine learning different from data science. So the way machine learning works is very simple. You see, predictive analytics focuses on statistics, okay? And in statistics, the human being helps the machine learn, okay, in statistical algorithms. Now, the same algorithms, right? Let's take one example, okay? Let's take one example called linear regression, okay? You could do this using the statistical method, and that would be predictive analytics. But if you did it using an automated technique called gradient descent, okay, then it would be machine learning. Now, in gradient descent, you don't teach the machine learns itself, okay? It could be that you supervise it. It could be that it can learn without supervising as well, okay? So we'll come to all of these questions. Now, what I want you to remember for sure is that these are the only three kinds of analytics, okay? So you've got descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. If you apply any of these analytics to HR, it becomes HR analytics. If you apply this to healthcare, it becomes healthcare analytics. If you apply it to data that's bigger than, let's say, for example, 2 GB, right, it becomes big data analytics. If you apply this to IoT, becomes IoT analytics, you know, for example, data coming from a gas turbine. So, you know, the domain does not matter. These are fundamentally the different kinds of analytics out there. So, Sulabh, it's great to hear that you've studied machine learning as a part of your, you know, course, okay? That's fantastic. All right, so now the data science process, right? And Shilpa will come to your questions of the prerequisites to get into analytics later. I would request all of you to focus on the slides. All of your questions are already answered in the slides coming up. So the more you focus on the slides, the more you will learn. At the end, I have a Q&A. I'll take each and every of your questions, okay? But just hold your horses right now, right? Okay, so what is diagnostic analytics? Nothing much, Abhinav. If you take data coming out of, let's say, a gas turbine, that becomes gas turbine diagnostic analytics. It's also called prognostics. If you take the same data coming out of human being, it becomes healthcare analytics. It's also prognostics, right? It's the same prognostic device that you insert. It's a smaller one for a human being, slightly larger one for a gas turbine, okay? So whenever you diagnose live real-time data, it's diagnostic analytics, okay, Abhinav? All right, there you go. Now comes the process. There's a huge amount of mystery around exactly what is, you know, the process that you sort of follow. Look, there's a lot of different, you know, processes that are followed. There's a lot of different sort of, you know, methodologies, terminologies, and you'll get very confused. So I thought I'd keep it really, really simple. Okay, and here's how it works, right? You can all have a look at this. Okay, so what's step number one? Step number one is a big mess. Here you go. Now here's your big mess on the left hand side, right? So this is all your dirty data. What's step number two? Step number two, you clean this data, and the process of cleaning this data is sometimes called data cleaning. And so I've sort of shown you here some dirty data, and then I've shown you here some clean data coming out, right? And when you clean this data, you come from this mess to structured tabular data. Now, this data here is structured and is tabular, but it could also be structured, but it might not be tabular. It might be images, it might be other kinds of data, right? So this here is an example of clean data. It's not the only kind of clean data, but it is tabular clean data. What's the number one rule you want to follow in life if you want to call data clean data? Very simple. One cell should have one data inside it. So if I say $100 and I put that into one cell, okay, in a spreadsheet, right? Can someone answer me, is this clean data or is this dirty data? Suppose I take a cell in Excel and I put $100 inside it. Come on guys, clean or dirty? Okay, so Shilpa says not clean, Haryo says clean. Why do you think this is clean? So I gave you a rule right now, one cell, one data. How many data do you see inside this? And it's absolutely true that data scientists like me, you know, we spend a lot of time cleaning our data. So it's a great point. And you rightly pointed out, right? There is one piece of data, which is the currency. There's another piece of data, which is actually the amount. All right. So this is not clean data. If you want to convert this to clean data, you would have a different cell that would have the currency in it, right? US dollars. You would have a different cell that would have the amount in it, that would be 100. So go with my rule of thumb, one cell, one data is clean data. Okay. Once you have this clean data, the next step in the process is that you need to query this data. And you've all heard about SQL. All right. And this is where our friend SQL comes in. Now, a lot of you also query your data in Excel by using these filters that you see here. But imagine if you have millions of rows of data and you have 200 columns, 300 columns of data. Can you use these filters? No, you can't, right? So that's where SQL comes to your rescue, or Power Query, in Power BI comes to your rescue to help you query your data. These days in Tableau, you can even query your data using your voice. You can ask questions and query your data. Anyway, net, what you're trying to do is you're trying to pull out one record from a lot of records and then have a look at that record and give it to somebody else, right? And that's what you see here. This guy's basically pulling out the data and giving it to someone else. Now, what do you do with that? All right. So once you have that, the first step that you do, right, is you do visualization. Now, visualization, if I were to talk about it, is descriptive analytics, isn't it? So the first step is not algorithms, absolutely not. Descriptive analytics is close to around 60% of the work in the industry. Okay, and I would say another jolly, 30% of the work is actually cleaning the data, sometimes even more than that, yeah? And then, the cool things that you hear about in the industry, algorithms are only 10% of the data work, so sorry to break your heart. All right, so how does it work after that? After you visualize, you find some trends, okay? And then you take all of those trends and you work on those trends. You do things like logistic regression to take decisions, yes or no decisions, or you do things like clustering to decide how many different kind of customers do I have in my business. So you can see here, you've got 3 types of customers, right? You've got customer 1, you've got customer 2, customer 3, set of customers, right? So you cluster your customers, you decide who should I give a discount to, who should I offer a new product to. Okay, so I drew this for you, for you to understand how complex the work of data is. And Abhinav, I don't blame you. Abhinav thought data algorithms are all you need. Abhinav, I consult in analytics, and I'm afraid algorithm, it's just cool, right? It's all Kaggle and school. Unfortunately, Sulav and Abhinav, it's not the truth, right? It's a very small part of analytics. It's not the big part of analytics. Just to give you a sense of, the work, we're working on a project right now with an e-commerce company, and I'm consulting with them on a very large project. We've already spent 4 months on Tableau and on cleaning the data and on descriptive analytics. We are now moving to the machine learning and the predictive analytics, and that will be only 2 months, right? So total, only 2 months out of 6 months is going to be focused on the algorithmic part, okay? Does the data analyst perform the data cleaning? Absolutely, Sulav. It is very true. You need to do it yourself. And sometimes, when you speak to senior data scientists, they say that they learned about the data, they learned about the business only by cleaning the data. So this part here, this is, uncool part. No one talks about this on Kaggle. They'll all give you beautiful data sets on Kaggle and they'll say life is good. Reality is, this is where you learn, right? So if I had to put it here, the reality is all about cleaning. It's also called data wrangling. All right, so you guys should be familiar with this term. Data cleaning, data wrangling. Wrangling is more than just cleaning. It's also about transforming the data into a shape and form where you can query it, where you can visualize it, where you can analyze it, right? And this is the most important part of the cycle. All right, there you go. So hopefully now you've got a fairly good sense of the 3 kinds of analytics, and you'll never forget the words what, why, and how to describe descriptive, predictive, prescriptive. You also now understand the whole process of analytics and what we do in analytics. All right. So now that you're all here, right, we're on the same page. We'll go ahead and here are some of the applications. And wow, if you look at it, right, every industry out there is using analytics. So to talk about it, this is all about the retail industry, and they decide what product to place on what shelf next to which product, so people buy the most. They decide how to price their product with respect to the internet, which products to club together and give offers on using market basket analysis, right? They also decide using machine learning which promotions are working well, and they invest more in the Google ads, the Google promotions that are working well. And so do these guys here in e-commerce, by the way, Amazon.com and all of these guys. And then you see here also, the financial industry is a huge consumer of analytics. So they model risk using the Basel guidelines, the US banking guidelines. They predict fraud. So on Amazon.com, for example, more than 98% of the fraud on Amazon is actually caught using algorithms, and only 2% or less than 2% requires human beings intervention to sort of investigate the transaction. You constantly segment your customers using a technique called RFM. All of you should read about it. It's a fantastic technique used across the whole e-commerce industry to judge customer value. It's called RFM. Okay. So that's a segmentation technique, but you can also use an algorithmic technique called clustering. So it's called k-means clustering. So we cover all of this in our course to decide what are the different kinds of customers in your business. And then, when you talk about healthcare, you talk about telecom, surprisingly, you'll be surprised. This is the #1 consumer of analytics in the whole world. Okay. So the AT&Ts, the British Telecoms, Virgin Mobile, Airtel, Reliance, these guys, they're all consuming #1 analytics in the world. And so you all hopefully know this, a lot of times we think it's the banks or the e-commerce, but that's not true. Now, this is here social media. So all of those recommendations that you get on Facebook, right? So you've got this recommendation engine here, and I'll show you here. All those friend request recommendations, as well as LinkedIn Connect recommendations, those are all done by using a technique called market basket analysis. Okay, it's called MBA. So they look at your basket and they decide what else you might be likely to buy, right? Okay, now there's a lot of these techniques over here, right? Sorry, I was just getting a sip of water. A lot of these techniques used to do analytics for all of these industries. But if you sort of Google some of these terms here, right, you'll understand how analytics is used. Banking is a huge consumer of analytics because today banks are under pressure from Paytm, they're under pressure from Western Union, money transfer from PayPal. Really, people need banking, they don't need banks. And if all of it is moving online, how's that happening? Okay. Now, in the previous slide, one of you asked a question, what is A/B testing? Thank you so much for your question. So the way it works is this, right? A/B testing works like this. So you might want to launch, a product, but you're not sure. So you've got like, product A, and let's say that has 4 features. And then you've got product B on a website that, let's say, has 6 features, and you're not sure what to do. Should you sort of sell product A with 4 features for USD 500, or should you sell, let's say, product B with 6 features, but this one would be for USD 689, right? So the way you do it is you actually launch both of these products online on different platforms, and you monitor which one is doing better for a target population, right? Now, the word that I use right now is called a TG, okay? TG is a target group, and you actually launch this live for a target group. And then you see how it works. Now, one of the classic examples of A/B testing is that the Obama re-election campaign bid sent many emails, right? So one of the email, let's say email 1 said, I, Barack Obama, right, ask for your contribution to my re-election campaign bid. The other email that went out to thousands of people went like this. It says, we the Democrats, okay, request your contribution to our re-election campaign bid. Email 3, and by the way, it need not be A and B, it can also be more than 2, would be something like, would you like to contribute to the re-election campaign bid. And they will send this out to thousands of people and see which one gets the maximum donation from US voters. Now, once they've decided that, oh, you know what? E1 is working really well. So they decide to send E1 out. And this time it goes out to a very large population, close to even 50 million people, right? So that's just one raw example. And by the way, Barack Obama's re-election campaign bid used A/B testing in a big way. Now, if you have just two experiments, A and B, you call it A/B testing. But if you have many experiments, then you call it design of experiments, okay? So it's called DOE, right? Short form is called design of experiments. This is also an analytical technique. So I hope that kind of helps you there with your question. All right. So we keep going. What's the difference between healthcare and social media, please? All right. So Eddie, healthcare is, all of your pharmaceutical companies. So the companies that are testing drugs, basically to see if they're sort of working or not, or the United Nations trying to forecast whether the H1N1 virus is going to stop and how many flights, should be sort of monitored, which countries should be careful about it. So all of that is healthcare analytics, right? While the other one is social media analytics is more Facebook, LinkedIn, and how they manage their business, how they manage which content should go viral. Because some of you may have noticed now on LinkedIn, they're promoting videos a lot, right? So I think they've come to the conclusion that videos get them a lot of views, okay? All right, there we go. So Sohail says in product B are the 4 features common. All right, so Sohail, you can run all of those experiments, okay? Using DOE, you can use some common features. You can even run eight or 9 experiments and see what's working the best. This is how analytics is used, okay, Sohail? All right, great. So banking, I told you, is a huge consumer of analytics because there's a lot of pressure on banks due to online e-commerce, wallets, e-wallets, Bitcoins, and a lot of that, right? So this is one big sector that is using analytics. But even functions like human resources in the year 2013 woke up, and on the left-hand side, you see that 82% of business leaders said that they don't even trust HR data, right? This spawned a movement where HR started using analytics in a big way, and CEOs, and precisely 1,260 CEOs, said that they were looking at much better HR data, and that's why today people analytics has become huge, as has financial analytics. So you can see how analytics is finding its way from different functions, financial, e-commerce, to even support functions like HR, right? In a pretty big way. Now, what are the prerequisites is one of the questions I got asked earlier, and here are the prerequisites. See, first up, right? I think the biggest prerequisite if you want to learn analytics is genuine curiosity. All right. So let me just put this here. And this is all. Trust me. If you are genuinely curious, okay, and that is my criteria number 1, and you're hardworking, right? So you want to practice. In fact, let me just say practice. If these 2 things are there, you can be a data scientist. I'll be as simple as that. Okay. Now, does this mean that someone who's done a bachelor in arts can be a data scientist? Yes. In my team, I have trained as well as, placed people with bachelors in arts into data science. Does it mean that if I learned pharmaceutical and I'm a bachelor's in pharmacy, I can be a data scientist? Absolutely, yes. You can move into healthcare data science. Does it mean statistics? Does it mean, engineering? Yes. I mean, all of those things. See, you can be a data scientist as long as you're curious and you're ready to practice. But if you're looking at short-term gains and placement is your only goal, then this is going to be a really hard journey, right? A lot of practice is involved. What are the skills that you need to learn? Okay, so 1 out of 3 is something you might already have, but here are the skills. You need to understand certain tools. Okay, so R, Python, Tableau, Power BI, blah blah blah, right? You need to understand data science algorithms and statistics a little bit for sure. And if you move on to advanced machine learning and deep learning, then you'll definitely have to pick up even more mathematics. But at the beginning of the journey, for the first 5 or 10 years, when you're in descriptive analytics, you're in early predictive analytics, you need to know a basic amount of statistics and a basic amount of algorithms, right? Not too advanced. You definitely need to understand how business works, and this one is the most underrated. Okay, so let me put this here. We are not champions. It took me close to 1 month to just understand the business of one of the clients that I'm consulting with. And to be fair to you, I would even say around 1.5 months, right? It was an e-commerce client in, a certain vehicle aggregation sort of space. And then you also need consulting skills. Now, nobody talks about this, okay? Everyone will talk about algorithms. What people don't understand is you need to consult with clients so that you can convert their problems, okay, into data science problems, right? If you can convert their problems to data problems, then you're a data scientist. If you can't, then, well, um, then you're probably doing something else, right? You're not exactly a data scientist, right? Can you acquire these skills? Sure, you can. How long does it take? I'd say 2 months for the base level, and I'd say anywhere up to 1 year for you to achieve a decent enough intermediate level with data science, right? But in 2 months, you can get started. You can apply for internships. You can start using data analytics in your current job. All of that is possible, in 2 months from now. Okay. This is as per Gartner. Now, understand that there's a little bit of confusion out there in the market. I keep hearing people saying, oh, I want to learn big data tools like, Hadoop and Spark and Hive. Please understand, if you're learning all of that, you're actually a data engineer. You're not a data scientist, right? A data scientist would be aware of Hadoop, Spark, Pig, and how to sort of leverage it to some extent, but they would focus more on cleaning the data, wrangling the data, massaging the data, describing the data, and drawing predictive insights out of the data. Very often, you work as a team. Now, this is another thing that is highly underrated in this industry in data science. Everyone wants to be an, sort of individual rock star. It's not true. You need to be a team. So the data scientists will work with the data engineer together. They will both work with the business. So you've got the customers, and then, they will deliver what they need to. And they might even work with other parties. For example, they might work with, in the healthcare industry or in the banking industry, you may even work with statutory parties, like the government or the agencies, credit agencies, okay, banking agencies, right, and telecom agencies, okay, like the TRAI in India. So you might even need to work with them and understand their whole sort of way of working, okay? So get this right. If you are deeply sort of like technical, you don't enjoy working with clients, you enjoy coding a lot, you want to work pure and pure on databases and the tech side of data science, please be a data engineer. Don't join my course, okay? But if you do not enjoy that bit and you enjoy more data extraction, data cleaning, wrangling, getting insights out of the data, doing predictive algorithms, then you should join this course and be a data scientist or any other course. It's not just about my course, okay? All right, so I hope this part is clear. Now, which are the top tools that you need to master in data science is really important, right? Sorry, I'm just taking a sip of water. So you will see right now that in the industry, the top tools, okay, in descriptive analytics are Tableau and Power BI, right? These would be number one and number two. Now, very closely followed by a product that earlier was great, which was ClickView. But when you work in the data science industry, you'll quickly realize that, sure, you can learn Tableau, you can learn ClickView, but you never know. If you go to a client location, they might have IBM Cognos, okay? Or they might be using, Oracle BI tools. They might be using, Informatica. So please do understand, they might be using SAS or SAP. So please do understand that you need to understand and master data visualization, not the tool. Now you might start off doing it on the top tools, obviously, because that's where the best salaries are, that's where all the clients are migrating to. But it does not mean that you may never have to work on micro strategy. You may definitely have to, or that you may not have to learn ClickView. But to be fair, if you've learned Tableau or Power BI, you should be able to learn MicroStrategy and ClickView as well without a lot of difficulties, right? They're all very similar at the end of the day, okay? There we go. So Sulabh is also saying, it uses Oracle. BI is used in his current company, and Shilpa says most of the tools are more or less the same. Now, Mola Fahim says, where is Excel? Oh my God, what a wonderful question. Excel is the cockroach of the industry. It is everywhere in each and every company. Okay, Excel can certify, it can survive a nuclear attack. So I hope all of you know that if there is a nuclear bomb, right, all human beings and other animals will die, but cockroaches will survive. They're the only ones that can survive a nuclear attack. So you are going to go nowhere without Excel. Okay, so the first two courses, in the first two classes that I do are on advanced analytics using Excel, and now you'll be shocked that there are machine learning and image recognition features inside Excel. Okay, so please do understand this. There is now pattern matching. I'll show you guys today. Okay, hang around today because I've got some lovely demos coming up. Um, Pattern matching, machine learning, that is image to data. Okay, data cleaning using ML is all there in the advanced version of Excel 2016 professional. Okay, so I cover that in the course. These are features that very few of you will be even aware of. So we cover all of that in the course. Okay, those topics are super important. Now, on the predictive side, it's a battle between R and Python. R is used a lot by data science people when they're working on data sets up to, let's say, around 200, 300 MB, 500 MB, or even sometimes up to 1 GB. But then beyond that, Python is used a lot because it has a lot of computing power. If you look at it right, let me give you a very simple sort of analogy there, okay? The analogy is that if you have a computer, right, and let's say your computer has exactly 4 GB of RAM, right? So let me put this here. The computer has 4 GB of RAM. So R can, work on data up to 4 GB. But suppose your hard disk has 120 GB of space, then Python can convert that 120 GB into RAM, and it can work on 120 plus 4, which means 124 GB data set. Okay, and that's why what tends to happen is that initially the exploratory analytics, a lot of the data science community does exploratory analytics in R, or even healthcare data. A lot of this gets done in our smaller data sets. But as it becomes really big, you start noticing that people start using Python to work on their data. Now, both of these are very good tools. They're both open source, and there's a lot of support for both of these tools out there in the community. So I do not think you have the luxury of saying you will learn only R or Python. Over a period of time, you need to learn both. Okay. Of course, R is more intelligent. It has more, complex functions. The reason being the data science community created R back in 1991, and all of the data scientists have been on that particular tool. It's like an advanced scientific calculator. And Python came around in 1994 as more as a programming language, but now because of its programming plus production capabilities, now this is another word that I'm using, Python has very good production capabilities, which means you can put data back in the database, put it up on a website, you can render it. So because of those reasons, Python is really popular. Okay. There we go. Now, both are good, but I hear Python is more useful, says Eddie. No, nothing like that, Eddie. It's just that, over a period of time, Python is picking up a lot in the market because of its production capabilities. The actual truth is that R is, smaller programming, right? So it's smaller codes, just a few lines, more powerful codes, right? In less code, you get more results in R, okay? Right? Those are some of the advantages, and you can see this here, right? And R is not hard at all. So, we've had bachelors in commerce join the course, bachelors in arts, in English, and they've all learned R. So look, it's all Batman versus Superman, right? One saves Gotham City, the other saves the planet, a little bit more like that, okay? There you go. And Mithun says he's been learning R for 5 months. Definitely, Mithun has rightly pointed out, R has more libraries for data science currently than Python. That is the reality. It has much more statistical power, and Python community is working hard, and they're bringing all of those functions into Python day by day. Okay, there you go. So you probably will need to work with both. Again, please do understand that you are not the one who's going to choose the tools. The client is going to choose the tools. All right, you don't have a say. So try and learn at least Tableau and Power BI and R and Python. And what you will see is that R works very well, with Power BI, and Tableau works pretty well, with Python. So Tableau plus Python is called TabPy, and R plus Tableau is also a good combination. So is R plus Power BI. Okay. So we've got someone drawing on the board. Thanks a lot for your artwork. But if you could please not draw, I would really appreciate. All right. Once you complete the course, you will get a certificate of achievement, and you will see that this certificate will go up on your LinkedIn page. A lot of people post their certification. If you do a great job of the assignments, you will get a certification with distinction. If you complete your assignments, most of them, not all of them, you will get the certification. And if you only join the course, you will get a certificate of participation. Okay, so those are the three kinds of certificates that you get at the end of the course. Okay, there we go. Right. I'll just keep going here. I've got some live demos now coming up in Tableau. Luckily, you guys joined today and participated, so I've got some special discounts for only the people that joined today's class, okay? So we've got the course for $298, but for those who joined today, it's $243. You will not see this on any coupon site anywhere on the internet. It's only in this presentation, which I'll mail to you, and when you click here, it will immediately take you to the PayPal website where you can join the course from wherever you are in the world, Indonesia or the UK or the US or wherever you are, right? And here's the PayPal link to join the course. There's a 100% refund for 1 month. So at any point in time for the next 1 month, if you have a challenge, we have a full refund on the course. For those of you that are based in India and would like to join in Indian rupees, we have the same discount, exactly the same pricing worldwide. So we don't charge anyone more anywhere in the world. So you guys can come and join here. Again, this discount link is only available for those who have joined today's webinar, all right? For those of you who are students, we have an even bigger discount. You need to send us your full-time student ID to contact@equiskill.com, and we'll send you a scholarship link to join the course. This is only for full-time students. All the links that I talked about today are available here in the presentation, which we will email you. It is now time for the most exciting part of today's class, which is the Tableau demo, followed by the R demo, where we're going to talk about an international, person who unfortunately got assassinated in Turkey. So we will see the sentiments on twitter.com for people across the world about Khashoggi and how they actually feel. We'll pull live tweets from Twitter, and we will show you exactly how angry or sad people are and how they're feeling about what happened to Khashoggi. In the meanwhile, what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the data set in Tableau. So we're going to start, and we're going to work through all of the parts of the demo that we spoke of here. We'll start with descriptive analytics in Tableau. We will do some predictive analytics in Tableau, and then we'll also do natural language processing using R. All right, so in Tableau, what I'm going to do is, now I'm recording this whole part for you so you can actually practice later, right? I'm going to click on the Excel and connect to the data source, but you can connect to any server in the world, with Tableau. It's pretty easy for you to do, right? Okay, and I'm going to connect to this data source here where you've got some orders placed across the world on a particular platform. So the order date, the customer that placed the order, you've got the segment. Is it a consumer, a corporate segment, customer, what location, what state, country are they based out of? You've got some postal codes, markets and regions. You've got product IDs that we actually sold per customer. Is it a headset? Is it a Nokia sort of smartphone? And then you've got the quantity, discount, sales, profit. You've got the shipping cost, how much it costed us to FedEx this product and whether it was a critical, medium, or low criticality sort of product. So these are the orders, and these here are the returns. Some of the orders came back to us, people didn't like them, and these are the people that you have in the data set, right? So this is roughly your data set here. Now this is pretty clean data. It's not actually messy data. I will show you how to clean data also if you hang around, after the class today. Now I'm going to connect to this in Tableau by clicking on Microsoft Excel on the top left corner. And once I click on Excel, I'll go to the downloads folder where I've downloaded this, and all of you have this downloaded folder. You've got this global superstore downloaded there. I'm going to open this up for you. Moment I open this up for you, Tableau will start working and it'll take you to what we call the data canvas. Now, in this data canvas on the left hand side, you can see orders, peoples, and returns, the same 3 tabs that you saw in the Excel sheet, right? So what we're going to do is nice and easy. We'll drag orders and drop it out here in the canvas area. The moment you do that, Tableau automatically populates the entire data for you. The beauty of Tableau is that you get to see a lot of information. So let me show you now all the information available at your disposal, okay? You can see that, the data types are either numbers, which are hash, or characters, which are ABC, or you've got time, date and time information, or you've got geospatial data like cities, right? So you can see the type of data right here in the view. Now, this doesn't happen, in other editions. And some of you are asking questions about this particular version of Tableau. So please hold on, I will answer those. Now over here, you can see that you can transform the data very easily. So let's take some examples of what I just talked about here earlier, which is data transformation and data wrangling, right? Let me just walk you through it, okay? So let me take some simplistic examples. Let's say that some of the data is, character data, we want to convert it to numerical data. So let's see how we sort of do that operation, right, in Tableau. So you come here, you click on the number, hash sign here, and if this is, for example, it's not supposed to be a number, it's just a row ID, you want it to be stored as character, you can click on string and then kaboom, it becomes characters, right? It's a quick transformation of the type of data. Now let's take another example, right? Let's say that you've got the order ID, and the order ID is a concatenation of 3 fields, okay? The first field is CA, and then you've got 2012, and then you've got 124891, which is the actual order ID. So if we want to clean this data, you click here and you split this data, and it's nice and easy. The moment you split it, in one cell, you have how many data? Can anyone answer that simple question? Clean data is what? One cell and how many data? So have a look here, right? CA is one cell. How many data do you see in this cell? You see one data, isn't it? So it got split into 3 data, but each cell contains just 1 data. So this is a classic example of, data cleaning, okay? And don't you worry, Sulabh, all of this is, recorded. So don't try and practice along right now, Sulabh. Please see the recording and practice there, okay? Now what I'm going to do here is that the hash here is a number, that's fine. This is a character, that's also fine. I can even rename a particular field, right? So for example, this field here, I'll rename this as a distribution center, because this tells you from where the product is being shipped, okay? Singapore or Spain or India. And then I can rename this one here as year, okay? So let's say I, for example, just rename this as year of shipping. And then let's say, the third one also, I can rename this as the actual order ID, right? So this is how you sort of, make some transformations and get the data into a better shape, right? Just a simplistic example for everyone. Okay. For the time being though, I'll delete the order ID here. I'll delete the year as well. I don't quite need it. I'll just keep the distribution center, right? So I've come to a place where I have some data which I'm okay to use. Okay, there we go. So once we do this, we come to the view where you actually work on the data. Now, understand one critical difference between Excel and Tableau, right? You cannot work on cell level changes in Tableau. So if you want to go and change the data, you can't change it right here inside the cell, okay? It's not possible. Even if you double click, it won't work. You've got to change it in the data source, or you've got to create a new view and you've got to manipulate data in the view. So you do not work on the raw data in Tableau. And I will cover how to merge during the course. So thank you so much. Now, where do you work in Tableau? You work over here. Let me show you. You work in sheet 1 over here. So these, each sheet is typically got a nickname Viz. Now, Viz is short for, visualization. And you'll see a lot of people share their Viz on LinkedIn.com, right? The kind of work they do. So I'll go to sheet number 1 and let me tell you how Tableau actually works. Now, what happens is business has some questions for you. Okay. Hi, Bijay, how are you? And what happened to the row ID after changing to string? Nothing much, Bijay. If you want to keep it in the string format, you can keep it as string. Otherwise, you can keep it as number, right? It all depends on the type of work you want to do on the row ID. Okay. Right. So Usha says after completing the course, is there a possibility of job guarantee? Okay, very good question. Right. Number one, point I want to share with all of you. Please do not believe anybody anywhere in the world who guarantees a job. Okay, because they're not working inside Amazon or Flipkart. How can they ever guarantee a job? All right. So never trust people who guarantee jobs. Please focus on learning. And definitely, I can tell you all the students who submitted their assignments and they did the capstone project, either I helped them or they helped themselves, they got a job. For some it took 1 month, for some it took 6 months, but they all managed to move into analytics. Okay, so focus on the learning, not on the outcomes right now. Right, there you go. Great. So with that, I want to talk about a very important part, which is what are dimensions and what are measures. Now this, you'll understand this very easily if you focus on the next 2 minutes. Okay, here are dimensions and then here are measures. So what are dimensions and measures? How has Tableau decided to split the data into dimensions and measures? Now, very easy. You are going to answer this for me, okay? All of you. When a baby is born, we measure certain things the moment the baby is born to make sure that the baby is healthy. What are the things we measure? What are the things the doctor measures? Quickly in the chat box. Absolutely, right? So you guys are answering immediately. Okay, weight of the baby. What else? Very good. What else? Breathing rate, height, head circumference, blood pressure. Absolutely, there you go. So the things that actually help you determine if the business is doing well or not. Now let's call the business a baby, right? So is the business doing well? The moment you say that, what do you check for? You check for sales, you check for profit, you check for all of how much discount are we giving too much discount. So all of these things are measures of the business doing well. Now anything that you cannot change, all right, is a dimension. Okay, you cannot measure or change a dimension. Now let me give you a classic example. Let's talk about the name of your customer. Now suppose you have a customer called Rick. All right, would you suggest to him that he change his name to Dick? You would not, right? That would be a really bad idea, isn't it? Super bad idea. So you wouldn't do anything like that. So anything that you do not necessarily change about a business, for example, your customer's location, your customer's gender, how do you care if they're gay? That's not your business, right? You're not going to ask them to relocate from Alabama to New York, right? So all of these things are dimensions. They are things that describe the business, but they are not necessarily things that you control or you measure. Okay. Now I've got some of you who are drawing. All right. So I just want to inform you that I know who you are. I can see your names. Will you please stop drawing, or else I'll request the admin team to remove you from the webinar. All right. So please do stop your artwork right now. I will give you time at the end for you to actually do the artwork. Okay. All right, great. So thank you so much for your patience. It's really nice, my friend. Now I will show you how you answer simple questions in a matter of seconds using Tableau. Okay, so here we go. We're going to answer the question, and this is a typical question that the business stakeholder will ask you. So let me put it down here. How are we doing? Okay, how are we doing? We doing across regions, okay, and in terms of quantity sold, right, and how are we doing in the different markets, in terms of quantity sold and the segments that we are in and the categories, right, that we are in. Okay. So if you ask this question, look how easily it happens in Tableau. You drop stuff on rows and columns, right? So for example, I'm going to drop the category on the rows. Okay. Here we go. I take the category of product, I drop it on the rows. I'm going to drop the quantity on the columns, the quantity sold on the columns. And the moment I do that, what I see is in the rows, I see the categories, furniture, office supplies, and technology, because I dropped category on rows. And in the columns, I see actually how much I sold for each one of these categories. So that's how Tableau works in terms of rows and columns. But now if I add segments, the different segments in which I'm doing business, and I add that to the picture, right? Let me just look for segments and drop it on the rows along with the category. Now, in the rows, I see the categories, furniture, office supplies, and technology, but automatically inside each category, it is able to show me the segments as well. Because first I drop category on the rows, second I drop segments. So in the same order, first I see category and then I see segments in the rows, nice and easy. And if I drop markets, and let me do this for you now, I'm going to take market and I'm going to drop it on the row. The moment I do that, it's a total mess, okay? So it doesn't make sense dropping it on the row, so I'll shift it to the column. And this is much better, see? Now what I'll do is I'll add markets to color once more, and you have your answer to your question. How are we doing in different markets across the world, Africa, APAC, Canada, EMEA, EU, LATAM, US, in different categories, furniture, office supplies, and technology. Now, just looking at this, right, in terms of the quantity, sold, okay, can you tell me what is the market where we're just beginning to do business? We've just started our business. Which market is it? All of you can answer in the chat box. Come on, guys, girls, everyone. Absolutely right. It's Canada, right? And which are the markets where we're beginning to grow, the developing markets? Second question, Africa and EMEA, isn't it? Absolutely, Bijaya, right? Thank you so much. There you go. So this is how Tableau answers your questions, and this becomes, the summary view of, how are we doing globally? Okay, so you can add that to your title. How are we doing globally? You can apply it, and this becomes your first visualization, right? This is typically known as a viz, and you can even add comments saying, for example, I can annotate this region here, and I can annotate this point, and I can say Africa is emerging really well, okay? And I can highlight these things. I don't have to go to PowerPoint. I can highlight these things right here in Tableau. The idea is you present in Tableau as well, right? You don't go anywhere else to sort of present, okay? Okay, there we go. If this is good, my question is, how are the sales and profits? Okay, so EMEA is Europe, Middle East, and EMEA is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Okay, there you go. Now, there's some more questions, right? That if anyone has, you can always ask your questions. So dimensions and measures are generated automatically, Sohail, that is true. But you can easily pick up something from dimensions and drop it on measure, see, like this. Okay, so it is possible if Tableau doesn't get it right, it's possible for you to flip things around, okay? Tableau will auto-detect, you will correct, all right? Okay, now my second question is, how are we doing in terms of sales and profits in all the countries across the world? If someone asks you the question, right? All you need to do is click on country, click on sales, that's it. And you'll notice measures are in green color and dimensions are blue. And on the top right corner, you've got this wonderful feature called Show Me. You click on Show Me and kaboom, it says, why don't you use symbol maps? It's actually recommending this particular visualization. It's also saying that you could use this one here, right? Maps or pie charts and bar graphs, box plots. It's saying that you cannot use area charts. So it's sort of de-emphasized or de-highlighted these ones, right? So I'm going to go with the recommendation symbol maps. I'm just going to double click that. And the moment you do that, you see how you're doing in terms of sales across the world. But then your business leader asks you, hey, you know what? Sales is not everything. What about profits? So all you need to do is take profit and drop it on top of color. Nice and easy. And the moment you do that, you see where you're making profits in deep blue, and you see where you're making losses in orange color. Now you'll say to me, Amit, could we get green for, profit? Could we get red for loss? And sure, you could do that. You could just click on colors, edit your colors, and make some changes here. Okay, nice and easy, super easy. Step the colors up to 5 and use the full color range and apply that. And the moment you do that, kaboom, there you go. So this is sales and profits globally, and you can tell you're making deep losses in Turkey, a lot of sort of profit in the United States. But then next, people are going to say, what about the different states in the United States? Okay, are we profitable everywhere, or are we profitable in each and every state? So there you go. The answer is simple. You take state, okay, and you drop it on the map. How easy could it get? And the moment you do that, you begin to realize, whoops, we're not making a lot of profits in Texas or in Colorado. But guess what? California, the Silicon Valley is doing well. Seattle is doing well. New York is doing well. And then you start noticing that, you've got challenges in Southeast Asia and Thailand, in Myanmar and Vietnam. So, in one view, could you possibly see so quickly where you're making profits and where you're making losses across the world, right? And that's the power of Tableau. Tableau can make even the dumbest person, and I think Mithun is talking about me, to understand what we're trying to convey. Because trust you guys, I was really bad at data 3 years ago, but my journey, in 3 years, I've learned analytics, okay? And all of you can do that, okay? So this is, markets. This here is, I'm going to rename this as sales globally. There you go. Okay. But not just that, yeah? Not just that. Now, one of you has a question about Tableau not detecting locations. So my only question for you is, please do leave something for the course, okay? You can easily help Tableau detect locations. I will show you in the course, all right? You guys, as you continue down this journey, you will learn more and more, okay? You can feed latitude and longitude into Tableau for any location that it does not detect is a simple answer, okay? There you go. All right, so here's sales globally. And now to this, what I'm going to do is, what if I want to know, well, this is all great, but tell me about the different customer segments, okay? I want to see every segment, how we're doing globally. So all you do is right click on segment and you add this to the filter. You say show filter and kaboom, you've got your filter here, and you make this a single values list like this. You go maximum, and now you have a fully interactive visualization. So you can click on this and your visualizations will change, right? What if, you want to see, forget about segments, right? You want to see, okay, so I'll just remove this filter here, drop it out, there you go. You want to see how we're doing in the different kinds of products that we have, right? So let me just go up and we'll look at category of products, and I'll add this as a filter. So you can see where we're making profits and where we're not, right? So here we go, single values list. I'll remove this view here, hide this card, we don't need it. You remove anything that's unnecessary. You can immediately tell that across the world, we're making losses. But if I click on furniture, do you notice that we're making even more losses? Do you all see that? This is furniture. And if I click on technology, do you all see we're making less losses? Okay, so if I ask you, where are we making more losses? Is it furniture like this, or is it technology? What would you answer? Come on, guys, everyone, guys and girls. Fantastic. It's absolutely right. It's furniture. Okay. Mithun, no worries at all. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry at all, Mithun. No problems. All right, here we go. So furniture is where we're making losses. Now, you all have completed the steps that we saw in the presentation from this point to this point, right? Now it's time to understand, why is furniture making losses? So we're going to move to predictive. Okay. We're going to use an algorithm called linear regression to understand why furniture is making profits. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to click on the next visualization and we'll move to using an algorithm called linear regression. There we go. Okay, so what's linear regression? In case some of you are scared of this, you believe this is some super nuclear mathematics, I'm sorry to disappoint you. All of you remember something that you learned in school, which is called y is equal to m into x plus c. Do you all remember this equation? Just give me a yes in the chat box if you do. Absolutely right. The equation of a line. Now that line is called the line of linear regression. It's a linear regression trend line. And some of you may have learned y is equal to ax plus b. Especially my friends in Indonesia, I'm sure that you learned y is equal to a into x, plus b. Can my friends in Indonesia confirm that this is what they were taught in school? Yes. mx plus b, ax plus b, all of that, yeah? Fantastic. Now, some of you have a degree in mathematics, which is beautiful. Now, you'll notice that these are nothing but the same equation. This is basically a linear regression equation, okay? And the same equation, linear regression, can be converted to an algorithm in R and Python, right? So you can create a linear regression algorithm. You can also create the same equation by using a graph, which you all did in school. You can also do it using statistics. You can also do it using machine learning, which is a gradient descent algorithm. Let's for a second imagine that furniture is really, really heavy, okay? If furniture is really, really heavy, then one of my business leaders thinks that it might be that we're making losses in furniture due to shipping cost, right? Thanks a lot for the Python equation. So what if someone says that, are we making, losses in furniture because the shipping cost is really high? And that's the question that you need to investigate as a data scientist, okay? So I'm going to call this, profit shipping cost relation, all right? And we're going to create a nice equation to understand the impact of profit and shipping cost. So what we'll do for this is we'll use a very different kind of visualization. The best visualization to use for relationships is called a scatter plot. So we'll use a scatter plot. We'll drop shipping cost on top of columns, and we're going to drop profit on top of the rows, all right? And the moment you do that, you get one point that represents the total profit and the total shipping cost in your whole company, right? Now, I want to see how we're doing across markets, but if I try to drop markets on top, of this graph, it automatically adds all the markets as different shapes, right? So square means, APAC, star means EMEA, EU, triangle means, US. Now, apart from markets, I also want to see how we're doing for all of the categories: furniture, technology, and office supplies. So I'll drop technology, I'll drop category, but this time I'll drop it on color. So a square, red color means technology, and it also means square, which means APAC. A blue square means APAC furniture, right? An orange square means APAC supplies. And you see the total for all of these, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop each and every customer ID on detail. So I'll get all the transactions that ever happened, okay? Now I've got all these transactions here, and I'm going to disaggregate this data because you can see it's the sum of profit and shipping cost. I actually want to see each and every transaction, all right? So what I'm going to do is go to analysis and disaggregate, that's all. And the moment I do that, you don't see the sum written here anymore on top. So this is now each and every transaction for each and every customer ID, the total shipping cost and total profit. All right. So thanks a lot, Eddie, for your comment. Eddie really appreciates what he's learning here today. All right, fantastic, guys. So now that you see every transaction, the question was very simple. We're doing really bad in furniture profits. Is it because of shipping costs? So let's find out. We're going to go to the analytics pane, and let me show you where it is, because when you practice later, you'll be able to go there yourself. It's over here, right? Currently we're in a pane called the data pane, right? Which is over here, right? But the pane we'll go to now is the analytics pane. I'll click on analytics, and here's the analytics, and you'll see a trend line. We will drag it and drop it on top of the graph. You'll see you can do linear, logarithmic, exponential, polynomial, and power and all of that, but never mind. You'll drop it on linear regression for the time being. Moment you do that, you get 3 linear regression trend lines. The blue one is actually for furniture, orange one is for office supplies, and the red one is for technology. You'll note that a lot of the transactions are not profitable, right? So each one of you can see that, right? This is zero profit here. So anything that is, this is the line of zero profit. Sorry for the drawing. Let me make a nicer drawing here. There you go. This is the line of zero profit. So you can notice that a lot of transactions are actually not profitable. All the transactions that are below this line, those are not profitable, okay? But all of the transactions that are above this line, right, the customers who are above this line, those are profitable customers. My question is very simple, is furniture profit impacted by shipping cost or not? And we're going to answer this question, okay? And Sohail, we can use logistic regression more for decisions like yes or no. You can use linear regression to create sales forecast or profit forecast, which is a more continuous thing, okay? So in the course, I will be teaching you different algorithms and when to use the right algorithm for the right problem, okay, Sohail? All right, now I'll come to this equation. Look at this equation carefully, people. It says profit is equal to 0.74 into shipping cost minus 4.4, okay? It gives you something called an R squared value 0.069 and it gives you a P value 0.001, all right? So what are these things? What is this R square value and what is this P value? Now to explain this to you, I'm going to go back to the presentation very quickly. And here we go. I've got this down for you over here. Here's your equation. So I'll come to this, I'll delete this, I'll just paste the fresh work that we just did. Let me just quickly crop this for you guys. There you go. I'm gonna crop it. Okay, gonna expand this a little bit, get rid of this annoying title here so we can focus on the equation. All right, here we go. Now today you're going to learn about the profit and shipping cost R square value and P value and what are these things and what do they mean, all right? Nice and easy. Now some questions, I'll come to your questions, Mola and Sulav, okay? Just focus here on this particular sort of equation here, right? Okay. Now what is the R squared value is the first question that we want you to answer. Give me a second here. I'm going to trim this a little bit more so we get rid of that annoying double icon there at the base of the chart. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to trim this a little bit more from the top, never you mind. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to expand on this equation because this is the important part really for us is to understand the linear regression equation nice and easy today, okay? There we go. Okay, now you'll notice that there are two things that you need to understand in this predictive equation that I've just got here. First, we'll talk about the P value, right? P value is actually the error, okay? And the error in this case is equal to 0.0001, all right? So this is, and I'm going to convert this into percentage, okay? So I'll multiply this by 100, which means that the error is how much? I take the decimal one place, two place, right? I multiply it by 100. So it is 0.01% error in prediction, which automatically means that how correct is my prediction? Well, it can maximum be 100%. So 100 minus 0.01 is how much, people? 99.9, almost like 99.9% accurate prediction, right? So basically, the error value, if it is less, then it means that your equation is more accurate. The lesser, the better, okay? Now, in this case, you'll see that it is only 0.0001. Now, the question you'll ask me is that, Amit, what is a good error value? How do I know if my equation, is good enough or not? Well, that actually varies, from industry to industries, right? So let's talk about this. Suppose you're preparing a vaccination, all right, in the pharmaceutical industry. Can you afford to be 99.9% accurate? Or in the case of a vaccination for rabies, do you think you might have to be 99.9999% accurate? Can someone answer me? Is it the first or the second? Rabies vaccination. Absolutely right. So you need to be more than 99.9% accurate, almost 99.9999% accurate for contraceptives, for vaccinations. But if I'm predicting relationship between profit and shipping cost, then 99.9% seems to be okay, right? It all depends on the volume of my business, but it's a pretty good, prediction, right? It would kind of depend, isn't it? So what I'm trying to get to is this varies from industry to industry. What you will see is statisticians will ask you to have a p-value that is lesser than 0.05%, which means typically a statistician would be happy with an accuracy of 95%. Okay, but the business user may say, oh, I'm not happy with 95%. I'm looking for even more. Okay, so now where did this 5%, 95% come from? Please don't ask me. Ever since the 1800s, statisticians have been happy with 95%, and therefore most books say that they're happy with 95%. Now, what does the p-value tell you? The p-value right now tells you, with almost a 99.9% accuracy, that the equation is accurate. But the bigger question is a change in shipping cost actually resulting in a change in profit? So we now understand that there is a relation, all right, and that's perfectly fine. So, is there a relation? Yes, there is a relation because p-value is less than, 0.05. But how strong is the relation? Now this will be revealed by the R-squared value. How strong is this relation? Okay, so we all have cousins, we have cousins who are very close to us. So think of the fact that someone is a cousin is a relation, but if they're very close to us, then that's a close cousin, isn't it? So that's a strong relation. Okay, how do you find out? Well, R square value can be a maximum 1, which means 100%. Now be scared of this, because rarely do you ever find a 100% relationship. The minimum value is 0, which is basically works out to 0% strength of relationship. Okay, but if you have a strength of relationship around 60%, then you think, sure, it looks like profit and shipping cost are related. If it's 70%, you say, oh, looks like they're significantly related. If it's 80%, you say, wow, I'm like dead sure they're related. And if it's anywhere above 90%, you go back to the business stakeholders and say, we need to reduce our shipping cost, right? In this case, can someone tell me what is the R squared percentage? So you need to multiply this by 100 and tell me the number. Come on, guys, nice and easy. You can see the R squared value. Wakey, eggs and bakey. Okay, so look, when you multiply 0.69 by 100, it's only 6.9%, isn't it? So if the minimum was 0%, strength of relationship, and maximum was 100%, and this is only 6.9%, would you say that the relationship between profit and shipping cost is strong, or would you say it's a weak relationship? It is a weak relationship. You are all absolutely correct. So analytics, has helped us establish that sure, there is a relationship between profit and shipping cost, but guess what? It's not a very strong relationship. It's just 6.9%. So we're certain there's a relationship, but you know what? Profit is probably not being impacted by shipping cost for furniture. It is some other factor, that is sort of impacting, shipping cost. Okay. Now, could you use other things to do this? So this is a, a bivariate analysis. You could do linear regression. You could also do a correlation, like, so some people are suggesting like Sulabh. You could also use a correlation function in Excel to do this. Great. So folks, we have already moved now and we've understood, some very basic steps on cleaning the data, as well as sort of, analyzing it with dashboards. We also understood, how do we then move from there to a linear regression trend line. Now this one is a logistic regression trend line, but we did a linear regression trend line today. So I think, I hope in this session, I was able to give you a basic understanding of the analytics sort of journey, right? Okay, and we will now move to something very interesting, okay, which is Khashoggi, right? And what happened to Jamal Khashoggi? I think some of you are aware that there were fears that he was assassinated in the Saudi Arabian embassy, and the whole world was worried about it. And what if we could connect to Twitter live right now and see how every human being across the world was feeling about this? For this, I will make my colleague the host, and he's going to share with us his screen, and we're going to understand text mining, okay, and how text mining and natural language processing in R can help us understand the feelings of people across the world, right? Mithun, don't worry, it's not ending for anybody who wants to hang around. Oh, and by the way, before we do this, if any of you plan to leave, do fill the feedback form, because that's how you will get the recording and the presentation. Okay, so let me just share that with all of you, just in case you are planning to head out. And here's the link. There we go. I'm going to share it in the chat box. So please don't leave without giving me honest feedback about how you felt about today's webinar. And next Saturday is the first class. Okay. So we're super excited to see you there. By the way, you're all welcome free of cost for the next class. Okay. So please do join me next Saturday for the class as well. I've just given, the link to all of you. And thank you so much for your comment. It's my pleasure. Now you see here, we have pulled live, and each one of you at the end of this course will be able to do this. You'll be able to pull live data from the internet that shows you the word cloud around Jamal Khashoggi. And you can see that the Americans are very interested in pushing the Saudis to reveal the truth about what happened to this guy, right? Tell us the truth, okay? And you'll also notice, that people are very, very worried about him. Did he get killed, right? And what happened to Jamal Khashoggi is really, really wrong. All right. And you can see that the BBC World has been covering this very aggressively, right? And blame game is being played between different parties. There's some terrible news about the fact that he got sort of, killed and dismembered. But right now, Saudi Arabia says that he got strangulated by some people who are very close to the prince. We don't know what the truth is, but do you know how people are feeling about this? So if I ask you how people feeling about the new iPhone, or if I ask you how people feeling about Jamal Khashoggi, now have a look at the sentiment graph that we'll put together from Twitter. We are connected live to Twitter. This is exactly how people are feeling right now. And this is the R environment. Don't you get scared. This is super easy. So you write small codes here, and you can see these are small codes that we've written on the top left. And then you've got the output that comes on the bottom right. You've got some information about the package over here, and you've got over here some of the outputs or the errors. And nice and easy, 4 boxes. This is a UI, and I'm going to maximize this particular, output, right? And it is 190 lines of code, which is very small, right? You write thousands of lines if you're in tech, but in R, it's much lesser. So you can all see here, right, that on twitter.com, we pulled, how many tweets did we pull? Was it 500? We pulled 500 random tweets, and look at the number of people who are negative about what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, right? So this is the negative people. They're not happy about what happened. They're feeling really bad about this. They're also pretty angry, right? So you've got some angry tweets here on Twitter, question marks, words that I cannot utter. They have disgust. There's anticipation around what happened. Tell us more. We want to know. There's sadness, right? There's surprise, all of this. But then a select number of people are even positive because, the news is beginning to come out. The truth is beginning to come out about what happened to Jamal Khashoggi, right? And they have trust that the system will sort of answer this. Now, how do you do this? Okay. So very quickly, I'll show you the code, right? So I'm going to go up and I'm going to show you the code on this. So my team member is going to quickly pull up the code for you. Okay, so I'll go right to the top of the code, right? So the first thing we've done is we've imported some libraries into R, and you can see the Twitter library, word cloud library, right? All of these libraries that we've imported into R here in this section over here. Now, after moving ahead from this section, we move to the next section of the code where we actually got some confidential Twitter API codes for us. Please do not take screenshots of this part. Make your own free of cost Twitter codes. And we've set up the Twitter authentication here. We've extracted 500 tweets, and the tweets are on the topic Jamal Khashoggi, right? We've got these 500 tweets. Now you go down, we've done something called converting the tweets into a vector. And then if you go down even further, right, we've got the corpus, which is basically all the text that we're analyzing. Now we're going to clean the corpus. So you need to remove all the full stops, the sentence, the commas, keep going down. So all the punctuations, you remove those, you remove the numbers, there's no sentiment, white spaces, stop words like the, you remove all of those, okay? And you remove the symbols to text and keep going down. So this is all the data cleaning part, right? Okay. And once the tweets are clean, then we actually convert them. Okay, and that's probably the most important part. Then we convert them into document matrix and convert them to the word cloud. This is the word frequency, how many times the word has occurred. For example, BBC occurred a lot of times, right? And then we render the cloud and we render the sentiment analysis, one line codes each, right? Very easy. So all of you will learn this in the course, obviously. Now this is all covered in the course. All right. So that's that. And I'm going to quickly take back the access here. Just going to reclaim the host. Here we go. Fantastic. I'm going to share my screen. And I hope you enjoyed, what you learned so far about analytics, and you're all, invited free of cost to the next class on Saturday, where we will kick off the course. All right, and some questions from Mithun. Yeah, so we've done stemming for sure. We're using a free of cost Twitter API, which we'll give all of you. All the softwares that we provide you in the course are free of cost. And Kanan says thanks a lot. So now, quick question: can you all please fill up this feedback form? So I'll just share this. And those of you who enjoyed this, particular session that I conducted, please do share your feedback on Facebook. I'll give you that link as well. Thank you so much, Shilpa. Right? The presentation will reach you, the recording will reach you in no time, mostly tonight itself, okay? Samiul Makandar, Terima kasih. I'm assuming you're from Indonesia, Samiul Makandar, yes? So Mola Fahim says sama-sama, so I speak a little bit of Indonesian, yes? Okay, and Sohail talks about internship opportunities. So please do go to letsintern.com and internshala.com for internship opportunities. So feel free to email us as well. We can share the site links with you. I'll open them up. Let me just complete the feedback forms, and then I will take even more questions. Now, right now, I have 6 feedbacks that have come, and there are 36 of you in this webinar. My request is, I learn a lot about how to make this better with your feedback. So please help me improve this number of 6. Thank you. It has moved to 7 now. 8. Fantastic. Small question here. There's only 3 questions, huh? So Dede. So I have a lot of learners in Indonesia, Dede, right? So many of my students are from Indonesia, from Jakarta. In fact, my sister is in Jakarta. So, definitely a lot of friends join us from Jakarta, from Nigeria, from Dubai, the US, and India. So we will be answering the question very shortly, Phantom. All right, so the next webinar, see, we'll be starting with, Tableau. So the journey is like this, okay? Please do understand that you have to, be very clear on this, okay? Because, if you don't, you will be deeply disappointed. No matter who you are, from which college you're from, you will spend the first 1 year of your career working a lot on descriptive analytics and a little bit of predictive analytics. First, understand Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and Excel, and then move to R, right, or Python, whichever one that you might. And so it's very important that you follow the right sequence, okay? If you jump to analytics, there's no way, that you will be able to, sort of master this, okay? And Abhinav, just to share with you, right, I will give you some data sets where you can run any algorithm you want and you will get no results. But if you visualize that data, you will get results. So hang around, Abhinav. I'll show you also after this webinar finishes. Yeah, it's a 2-month journey. By the time you finish, you will know everything that you do to start your career or to use analytics in your current company. right? Just takes a little bit of time. Okay. Patience is key. I have 18 feedbacks, so please give me more feedbacks. Okay. Very important for me to get better. I look to get better every time. By the way, there are only 3 questions in that feedback form, so it's not very nuclear. Okay. So just go ahead and fill it up. All right. So here we go. So we have this is my Facebook page. I'm sorry about this, but there is a Facebook page of EquiSkill. So let me just click that here. .com/EquiSkill. Please do also read about us, on Facebook. We rated 4.9 out of 5 by our learners. They're very kind. And here's my page on Facebook. All the events that we organize are publicized on Facebook. So please do make sure that you like this page, and I want you to share, your feedback here in the review section. So please do come here in the review section and share your feedback on this webinar so you can see, and please do rate us 5 if you liked us, and this is Kishore, and these are all people who joined the course eventually. This is Nana Ray from Indonesia. So I would like for you as well. Thank you, Ilham Afi, for liking the page. Others also can please like the page and click on reviews, and please rate us 5 if you like today's webinar. Now, for pre-studies before attending the next class, no, you don't need to study anything. Please install Tableau public and download the data. And when you need to study something, I will email to all of you what you need to study before each and every class. Every class will be interactive. See, what happens is that in the initial part of the course, right? And I will just show you here. In this part of the course, the descriptive part, you do not need to prepare that much. Okay, so there is less preparation. There is some preparation, but less. But as we move to statistics and the predictive parts, right, stats and algos, okay, I will ask you to prepare a little bit. Okay, stats plus algo plus R. We are covering this entire course in R. Okay, so this is where I will ask you to prepare before you come to my class, right? Here, little less preparation is required. So for the next 4 or 5 classes, you don't really need to prepare after, but you need to submit your assignments, okay, after the class. Okay, so very quickly, please also look at this course structure here. We've all now done the Twitter cloud, and now here's the course structure. So we will start on the 27th of October, sharp at the same time that we started today. This is a Saturday. We will not have a class on 28. 28 we will have a break. Okay. After that, every Saturday, Sunday we will have a class. Each class will be recorded. And if you miss a class, see, everybody misses 2 to 3 classes. You will get the recording within 3 or 4 hours, so that you can watch the recording and catch up on the class, right? We will start with data wrangling and data modeling, and before moving to Tableau and statistics, right? And then we will move into the R introduction and all of the algorithms on linear logistic regressions, decision trees, sentiment analysis, clustering, all of these, right? RFM, e-commerce, cohort analytics, all of this, right? And then we will end with a capstone project. In the middle, we also have a live data set where you can, work on that live data set. So it's not a live project, it's a live data set, okay? Which you can work on in Tableau and get a real feel for data cleaning and all of that, okay? Now, can you share this program structure? Okay, so you can learn either in R or in Python. We believe R is a better for data scientists. Python is better for those who want to go into, ML and core programming and those things, right? We start with R, but we also have a course in Python, which is a recorded course, okay? Now, in case you want to email or call me on WhatsApp, my details are provided here to all of you. So I'm sharing this here. Shilpa says, I'm not very good at mathematics. I am also bad at mathematics, okay? So Shilpa, if I could learn it, you can learn it. I actually got 33 marks in mathematics in class 10. I failed. But then, I worked hard and I got 92 in board exams, And I think, all that worked is that I practiced. So when I did not practice in maths, I failed. And when I practiced in maths, I got 92%. So analytics is like that only. Okay. Everybody can do it if you practice, right? Okay, fantastic. Right. We have a lot of BA, BCom, economics people in the course. There's no problem. So some of you are asking for the course structure. See, all you need to do is go to equiskill.com and click on the Data Analytics Accelerator certification. It's our most, famous course, and we've been running this course now since 2015. All right. So here is the course link. And discount, there's a heavy discount for students. So Abhinav, I've already mentioned you need to send me your ID card, contact@equiskill.com. Okay, just email me your ID card. Yeah. Okay. And Richa M joined around 8:30 p.m. today. That's okay, Richa. There's nothing. We've recorded the whole thing for you, and we will be sharing the recording with you, Richa. Okay. So no problems whatsoever. It was only an informative webinar. Class is actually starting next Saturday only. Okay, Richa. Today was just informational. Okay, wonderful. Now all of you are invited to next Saturday. Now have a look here. See, you can see the number of lectures, right? You've got the duration of the course, skill levels, language, and you can see here the tools that we're covering. We're not going to go into in-depth into each tool. We will learn enough for each tool for data science. This is the idea is not to become a Tableau developer, okay? Or to be a Power BI developer. The idea is to be a data analyst or a data scientist. So we will learn everything that we need to be a data analyst or a data scientist, not becoming an expert on a particular tool, because tools keep changing. Now, if any women are starting their career after a break, please note that you will immediately get the student discount. Okay. So any women restarting the career, please write to us with your LinkedIn profile link. Just send me your LinkedIn profile link. It should clearly mention that your last job was before, and let us know, and we will share the student discount with any women who are restarting their career. So Usha, you are most welcome. Again, Usha, you can write to contact@equiskill.com with your LinkedIn profile. And a lot of women have restarted their careers with us. So to give you an example, one of my students, was, let me see, she started her career after 6 years. Here she is. So Reena. So she's my student, and she was a part of this course. She started our course, and today she's a general manager. But she joined here as a team lead Just Energy after our course. Okay. And she took a break of 7 years and then took our certification. You will also see that a lot of people who are already in data science, like Maria, she's another one of my learners. So Maria also graduated from this course. Maria is in London, and people in data science also join our course and learn about it, right? So Shilpa, you are eligible. Yes. So please email me, Shilpa, at my my email ID, and it's contact@equiskill.com. And if you want to WhatsApp or talk to me, all of you should feel free to WhatsApp me. 973165784 +91 in the beginning. Okay, let me share my WhatsApp details. You can all ask your questions. Okay, and the good news is I don't guarantee placement, but I help my learners make beautiful resumes, and I forward their resumes to my friends, and a lot of them get placed, and a lot of my learners, they work very hard, and they apply themselves in many good places, right? And they get selected themselves. I even conduct a small class on resume writing for all of my students, because the good news is all of you are pretty horrible at writing resumes. Okay, so since I was a vice president in HR and I used to hire hundreds of data scientists, I will help you create beautiful resumes which are not too beautiful also. Okay, because if they're too beautiful, everybody knows that you paid money to get it done, right? But resumes like this, which even at 18 years experience, will help you highlight your key business impacts in your career, will help you highlight your certifications, the key work experiences with the numbers that are very important, right? And all the companies that you worked for very briefly, right? This is one kind of resume. And then we also have, people who have lesser experience. So we help them put together their resume. For example, we have my student Chitransh. He's now working for Manthan Analytics. So Chitran Shaman got placed with Manthan Analytics. So we'll help you create a resume where you can even put your certification right there, okay, in the resume as an online certificate. So the moment you click on the online certificate, it will open up your live certification on our website, okay? So people know it's authenticated.
Can you all hear me now? Okay, fantastic. No problems. See, once you complete the course, it doesn't stop there, okay? You have to do positive publicity. So I will show you, how to create very good posts. Now, all of you go to this post here. Okay, I'll copy the link to the post. You can all have a look at this post. See, many people are certified in this world, but how do you say that you completed the certification, and how do you hashtag a few people? Now in this case she has hashtag me and my company, and she's got 45 likes for this, lot of views, lot of comments. So how do you create that positive sort of experience around your certification is very important, right? And you will see that some of the learners, they also sort of publish their actual work. So this is another one of my students, and I'll just share his post as well with you. You can have a look. See, today it's a highly social world. Okay, so great, you did this certification, but then how are you going to, create some positive publicity around it? Is very important. Okay, so you'll see here in one of his links, I think his posts, right? In one of the posts, he has actually posted his Tableau work, and this is something I encourage a lot of people to do. I'll just have to scroll here a little bit. Here you go. See, have a look at this post here. Lovely post, right? And okay, let's scroll down again. Yes, here you go. So what he has done is he has created all the Tableau visualizations and he has posted them online, and he has hashtagged Fabio, who is a data scientist globally, Fabio Vasquez. He has hashtagged me. He has hashtagged Kate. Kate, she's a very good, data scientist, loves Tableau. He has hashtagged Randy Lau, right? He's also a very good data scientist. You should follow these people, right? So I'll just send you this post as well. So I will guide you people, okay? Yeah. So don't you worry about all of this. See, what happens is anyone who goes through this course, okay, I will personally, conduct a 30-minute session on how to create a great LinkedIn profile and a resume for analytics, okay? And trust me, with that, a lot of people have got, calls, and senior people as well. For example, this gentleman here, Amit Rai Chaudhary, he's my student. He had 18 years experience, right? And he wanted to move to analytics. Now it takes time after you have experience to move to analytics. So it took him around 3 or 4 months after that to search for a job. But through us, he got one offer. But he found an even better offer himself. See, that's a wonderful spirit. And here he's mentioned in LinkedIn, he's mentioned his certifications from equiskill.com, right? And Jigsaw and DataCamp, like that. So you should also highlight, and you should do a right amount of hashtagging to create positive publicity around your profile as well. Okay, so all of these tips are there. Please don't worry. Please join the course. We will end before Christmas, and after that, I will give you a project which you will complete by 16th of December. If you need an extension, I can give you up to Christmas, but please positively submit your project, before Christmas. There are two projects. One is the live project, the other is the capstone project. Okay. So you have to submit both of them. Capstone is during the course, and live project, the live project data on Tableau is during the course. I'm sorry, and capstone is at the end of the course. It's an algorithmic project on credit analytics. Okay. So that's sort of the entire flow. I really want to thank you all who stayed so late. Vijaya, Usha, Sugandha. Now I'm going to pause the recording, and hey, it's great to see Howard in the session. How are you doing, Howard? It's wonderful to see you as always. I'm going to take your questions. So I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you all for having joined the webinar.